ACL injuries for youth athletes are on the rise. How serious are these injuries and how do you treat them? Well, we are joined today by Dr. Trey Remaley with the Florida Orthopaedic Institute. Doctor, I want to jump right in. Why are we seeing these injuries happening so often? And welcome to the show, of course.
Well, wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. These are pretty devastating injuries, and they can cause pretty significant long-term issues for these young athletes, both physically as well as emotionally and oftentimes financially. We've seen a pretty significant rise due to a lot of these athletes doing multiple sports throughout the year. And here in Florida, we got great weather, and so they're really doing year-round sports. And so we've had a pretty significant rise on these types of injuries.
We're taking a look at, of course, the anatomy and how the injury actually looks. I mean, I remember people tearing their ACL. I mean, that's kind of vernacular you do here with youth injuries. I'm curious, though, how serious are them? And especially, you already touched on the fact they're, youth injuries. Do you see the reoccurrence?
Yeah, we've seen in our literature and our research studies that they could have up to a 20 to 30% chance of re-injuring that torn ACL. And so what we worry about is making sure that they have better long-term outcomes with this, being able to return to their sports and daily activities without having any significant long-term issues.
Well, let's dive in and talk about a solution, right? I want to talk about the internal brace technique. I mean, you say it is a game changer for these type of injuries. Why is it a game changer, and really, how does it work?
Yeah, this has been a great attribute to our success in treating these injuries. The Arthrex InternalBrace really acts as like a check rein or a seat belt for the graft that we have to put in there. Typically in the past, we would really rely just on that graft for healing itself. But what we found with this new technique, with the Arthrex InternalBrace, is it kind of protects the graft to allow it to heal a little bit better in the normal anatomy so that we can have improved outcomes.
And of course, we were taking a look at a seatbelt analogy for that purpose. That's a great way to kind of look at it so people like myself can understand how it protects,
sure.
Right, Doctor?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I also want to talk about, of course, the impact, though, that this technique that you talk about. You touched on already how the results are favorable, but what about the rehab, the recovery time after surgery?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily shorten your rehab time, but it can allow us to get into functional rehab a little bit quicker with their recovery. We've seen a pretty significant reduction in these retears with our studies that we have looked at with the Arthrex InternalBrace. And it's reduced it from about an 8% recurrence rate down to about a 1% recurrence rate. And so that's pretty significant. So basically, in the past, about 8 out of every 100 athletes may retear their ACL, and now we're down to 1 out of every 100. And so it's been pretty significant.
Oh, well, of course, I want to take a look at how that looks. I know we've got a still shot that we're going to show. Give people an idea what we're taking a look at here. And then I know you brought a prop as well. What is this?
Yeah, so what you're looking at here is the inside of the knee, and inside you've got the graft, and right next to it is our seat belt, that Arthrex InternalBrace, and you can see that it lies right next to the graft. And on our model here as well, you can see internally where the blue suture tape is the internal brace, and that is sitting next to it being that seat belt and allowing it to protect the graft so that the graft can heal normally while still allowing some progressive rehab.
Well, again, I'm so glad to learn about this because I remember people my age back in school having this. And so to see the advancements in medicine and how you're able to help patients, I think is fantastic. We want to go ahead and share the information, share the contact information. ACLtear.com is where you can go. And that's also how you can find a doctor and take advantage of that tool to connect with a surgeon as well.